Your attention is not broken, it is occupied. There is a difference. A broken thing cannot be fixed. An occupied thing can be reclaimed. This distinction matters because right now you believe your inability to focus is a personal defect. It is not. It is a strategic occupation of your mind by forces that understand focus better than you do. They understand that attention is currency, the most valuable currency, more valuable than money, more valuable than time, because time is only valuable when you are focused during it. Unfocused time is simply loss. They have built an entire architecture to steal it, and they are winning, not because you are weak, but because you have never learned to defend what is yours. The Stoics understood something that neuroscience is only now confirming with brain imaging and behavioral studies. Your mind is not a fixed entity. It is not born with a limited capacity for focus. It is a muscle. It can be trained. It can be strengthened. It can be made almost invincible, but only if you understand the exact mechanisms by which it fails and the exact practices by which it is rebuilt. Not theories, practices, actionable systems that work because they worked 2,000 years ago and they work now. Today I am going to give you 10 systems, not motivational ideas, not inspiration, systems, mechanical processes, architecture. These are not new concepts dressed up in modern language. These are the exact practices the ancient Stoics used to construct minds of such clarity and power that they became historical figures not because of their circumstances, but because of their focus. Marcus Aurelius did not become emperor because fortune favored him. He did not inherit the throne through luck or political maneuvering. He became the most powerful man alive because he could concentrate his mind where ordinary men scattered theirs. He could remain focused while commanding legions. He could remain focused while managing an empire of 60 million people. He could remain focused while a plague killed thousands of his subjects daily. That focus was not genetic, it was built. Seneca did not survive exile and political betrayal because he was lucky. He did not escape death because he had connections. He survived because he could direct his attention away from what he could not control and entirely toward what he could. His circumstance was imprisonment. His response was to build a philosophy that shaped Christianity and influenced the founding fathers of the United States. That philosophy came from focus. Epictetus did not transcend slavery because the world gave him freedom. He did not transcend it because a master was kind. He transcended it because he built a fortress inside his own mind that no master could ever penetrate. His leg was broken. His body was tortured. His freedom was revoked. And he sat there, completely untouchable, completely sovereign, because he understood something no amount of external force could violate. His attention belonged to him. These were not exceptional men. They did not have access to anything you do not have. They were men who used exceptional practices. Those practices are available to you right now, in this moment, if you choose to use them. Let's begin. System 1. The attention inventory. The foundation. Everything that follows is built on this. Most people have no idea where their focus actually goes. They wake up believing they will concentrate on their work. They end the day having concentrated on everything except their work. They feel confused. They feel like they failed. They wonder why nothing changes. The pattern repeats tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after that, until they believe they simply lack the capacity for focus. This is false. You do not lack capacity. You lack visibility. The Stoic practice begins with radical honesty. You cannot protect what you do not see. You cannot change what you do not acknowledge. Seneca conducted what he called a daily accounting of the soul. But before the accounting comes the inventory. You must first know what you possess. You must first see where your attention actually lives. Here is what you do. For 3 days, do nothing different. Live exactly as you normally do. Maintain your regular schedule. Do your normal work. Spend time on your phone as you always do. Live completely normally. But keep one note, just one, a simple piece of paper or note on your phone. Every single time your attention shifts, Mark it. You do not need to judge it. You do not need to change it. You do not need to feel guilty about it. Just mark it. Attention to your phone. Mark it. Attention to a worry about the future. Mark it. Attention to work. Mark it. Attention to hunger. Mark it. Attention to a memory. Mark it. Attention to a conversation. Mark it. Attention to a desire. Mark it. Do this for 72 hours, 3 full days. Do not break the practice. Do not take days off. Just 72 continuous hours of marking every attention shift. At the end of 3 days, look at the patterns. Where does your attention actually go? Not where you want it to go, not where you feel like it goes, where it actually goes. Most people discover something shocking. They believed their attention was scattered randomly, like leaves in the wind. It is not random. It never is. It follows grooves, worn into the mind by repetition. Each time you check your phone, you deepen the groove. Each time you worry, you deepen the groove. Each time you engage in a habit, you reinforce it neurologically. The paths of least resistance in your mind are now highways, deep highways, well-traveled highways. This is not a problem. This is information, because the moment you see the pattern, you can interrupt it. Seneca wrote to his student Lucilius in a letter that survived 2,000 years, "Only the examined life can be changed. You cannot change what you do not see. You cannot interrupt what you do not acknowledge. Do this inventory. Write down your actual attention patterns, not the ones you wish you had, the ones you have, not the ones you feel like you have, the ones you actually measured. This is foundation. Everything else is built on this foundation." System 2. The decision before the day begins. Every morning, before anything else, before the world touches you, before the day makes its first demand, the Stoics asked a single question, not "What must I do today?" but "What will I be today?" There is a violent difference between these questions, a complete inversion. What must I do leads to urgency, leads to reactivity, leads to the assumption that the day is something that happens to you. What will I be leads to intention, leads to agency, leads to the understanding that you are the architect of your day, not the victim of it. Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man alive. He ruled an empire of 60 million people. He commanded legions. He decided the fates of nations. And every single morning, before he opened a single piece of correspondence, before he spoke a word to any senator or general or member of his family, he sat alone. He wrote in what we now call the Meditations, a journal never meant to be published, never meant for public eyes. He wrote this. Before the sun had fully risen, he asked himself a question. Before the day touched him, he positioned himself. He wrote, "What virtue do I need today? Not to be comfortable, to be aligned, not to succeed, to be myself, not to impress, to be excellent." Epictetus taught this with the uncompromising clarity of a man who had been forced to learn it the hardest way possible. He taught that the morning was not preparation for the day, it was definition of the day. The moment your mind touches the world, you are already being shaped by what touches you, unless you have already shaped yourself first. The moment you turn on your phone, the day shapes you. The moment you open email, the day shapes you. The moment you hear a voice or see a face, the day shapes you, unless you have already decided who you are and how you will be. Here is the practice. Before your feet touch the floor, before you move from bed, before you speak a word, before you open a door, before you check anything, ask this question: what person do I need to be in the next 8 hours? Not what task do I need to complete? That comes later. What character do I need to embody? Do I need to be patient? Do I need to be decisive? Do I need to be creative? Do I need to be absolutely focused? Do I need to be calm? Do I need to be bold? Name it. Say it aloud if you can. Let your body hear it. Let your nervous system know. Let your mind know. This is a decision, not a hope, not a wish. A decision. The Stoics understood this distinction. Wishing is passive. Wishing is hoping that things will be different. Wishing requires the world to change. Decision is active. Decision is the assertion that you will be different. Decision requires nothing from the world. It requires everything from you. Decision is power. By the time the world begins its assault on your attention, by the time the first email arrives, by the time the first message comes through, by the time the first person demands something from you, you have already decided who you are. You have already decided how you will respond. The day cannot change what you have decided. It can only confirm it. It can test it. It can push against it, but it cannot change it. Not unless you allow it, and you will not allow it because you have decided. This simple practice changes everything. The person who decides who they are before the day begins is the person who is shaped by their own values, not by external circumstances, not by the demands of others, by their own decision, by their own intention. System 3, the single focus protocol. Breaking the multitasking myth. Seneca lived in Rome during the height of Roman civilization, the most sophisticated, seductive civilization the ancient world had ever produced. He observed something about Roman society that reads like a description of your life right now, your actual life, not an exaggeration, not a metaphor, your life right now. He wrote this: "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." Read that again. To be everywhere is to be nowhere. He was watching Romans try to do everything simultaneously, attend every banquet, pursue every pleasure, manage every relationship, chase every ambition, chase every opportunity, do every task at once, all at the same time, and he saw the result clearly. He wrote about it: men who were busy beyond measure and accomplished nothing of depth, men who touched everything and mastered nothing, men who at the end of their lives could not point to a single thing they had truly, completely given themselves to. This is the trap that is devouring your generation right now. You call it multitasking. You think it is efficient. You think it is a skill. You think the more you can do at once, the more impressive you are. The Stoics would call it what it actually is: self-fragmentation, a voluntary fracturing of the only tool you have, your mind. Neuroscience has confirmed what Seneca knew by observation alone. Your brain does not multitask. It cannot multitask. It is not designed to multitask. It switches tasks. Every time you move your attention from one thing to another, there is a cost, a tax, paid in clarity, in depth, in mental energy. A Stanford study conducted over years tracked heavy multitaskers versus light multitaskers. They measured their ability to filter irrelevant information from relevant information. The results should have surprised no one, but did surprise most. Heavy multitaskers were actually worse at filtering irrelevant information than people who rarely multitask. Not better, worse. They had trained their minds to be perpetually scattered. They had practiced distraction until distraction became their default state, their baseline, their normal. Their brain had adapted to distraction. It had learned that everything was important. It had learned that nothing deserved complete attention. Habit 3 is the single focus protocol. The Stoics trained in archery, not only as a physical discipline, but as a philosophical one, as a metaphor for how the mind works. An arrow cannot serve two directions. The moment you try to aim at two targets simultaneously, you hit neither. You cannot partially hit. You cannot partially aim. Either you are aimed at one target or you are aimed at nothing. This is not metaphor. This is the architecture of excellence. This is how excellence is built. Cato the Elder was a Roman senator who so terrified Carthage that he ended every speech, regardless of topic, with the words "Carthage must be destroyed." He became a legend, not for his oratory, not for his political maneuvering, but for his singular focus. He was described by his contemporaries in ways that make clear what made him formidable. When Cato worked on a legal case, there was no other case. There were no peripheral cases. There was no checking on other matters. There was only this case, complete, total, attention. When Cato spoke to you, there was no other person in the room, no checking his watch, no glancing away, no dividing his attention. There was only you. You were completely present with him. He was entirely, frighteningly present in whatever he had chosen to do. This is what made him formidable. Not genius, not talent. The refusal to divide himself. The refusal to scatter himself. The commitment to presence. Practice this today. Choose one thing, one task, one conversation, one piece of work, and give it everything. No second screen. Do not have your phone visible. No background noise. Do not have music or podcasts. No checking while doing. No ambient awareness of email. No wondering about other tasks. Just the task and the full weight of your undivided mind. Most people cannot do this for more than 5 minutes before they feel the urge to scatter, before they feel the impulse to check, before they feel the anxiety of abandonment. That urge is not weakness, it is withdrawal. Your mind is addicted to distraction. This is not judgment, it is fact. Distraction causes dopamine spikes. You are addicted to those spikes. Every time you switch attention, your brain releases dopamine. You have been trained by your own brain chemistry to chase the spike. The addiction is real, it is chemical. The single focus protocol breaks this addiction through repetition, through practice, through building new neural pathways. Start with 15 minutes, one task, everything, no compromise. After 15 minutes you can stop, you can check your phone, you can scatter yourself, you can release the attention, but for 15 minutes you practice concentration like an athlete practices a sport. You build the muscle. The first day seems impossible, the second day seems impossible. The third day you realize your mind is starting to adapt. Day 5 feels harder than day 3. This is because the withdrawal is strongest in the middle. Your brain is fighting back. It wants the distraction. It is comfortable with distraction. Day 15 the fight is quieter. Day 30 is when you feel strange if you are not concentrated. When distraction feels wrong instead of normal. The Stoics understood that focus is not a talent, it is a skill. Skills compound with practice. You cannot build focus by thinking about it. You build focus by practicing it. Repeatedly, consistently. The single focus protocol is your training regimen. System 4, the subtraction cascade, the power of removing everything that is not essential. There is a moment in Michelangelo's account of creating David that cuts to the heart of Stoic thinking. He was asked how he could create such a perfect figure from a block of marble. How did he know where David was inside the stone? He said something that sounds simple until you understand its implications. I removed everything that was not David. He did not add to the marble. He did not build David onto the marble. He revealed David by subtracting everything else. Everything that was extra, everything that was not essential, everything that was in the way. The Meditations is filled with this theme. Marcus Aurelius returns to it again and again. He wrote, "If you want tranquility, do less, not work harder at everything. Do less, better." 3 words that contain the entire solution to the problem of distraction. But subtraction is terrifying, because subtraction feels like loss. Addition feels like progress. So people keep adding. More apps, more commitments, more content, more obligations, more noise, until their life is so crowded with the unimportant that there is no space for anything that matters. Until the essential is buried under the non-essential. The subtraction cascade is a system for fixing this. It is a cascade because you do not do it once. You do it repeatedly removing until only what matters remains. Start with one area, your digital habits. Just digital, not everything, just what lives on your screens. Look at every app on your phone, every subscription, every notification, every piece of content you consume. For each one, ask a single brutal question. Does this serve the person I am trying to become? Not does this make me comfortable? Not does this entertain me? Does this serve the actual person I want to be? If the answer is no, delete it. Not later, not tomorrow. Now, in this moment, delete it. The first time you delete an app you thought you needed, you will feel anxiety, physical anxiety. Your heart rate might increase. You might feel a sense of loss. This is good. This is withdrawal. The anxiety is proof of dependence. The anxiety is proof that the app had hooks in your mind. Stay with it. Do not reinstall. Just sit with the anxiety. By the third deletion, the anxiety fades. By the 10th, you feel lighter. By the 20th, you feel free. The subtraction cascade applies to everything: your commitments, your relationships, your information diet, your entertainment, your obligations. Look at each one. Ask, does this serve who I am trying to become? For every commitment that does not serve your actual goals, your actual purpose, your actual vision for your life, end it. Not gently, not slowly, cleanly. Seneca warned about the cost of vague obligations, of maybe commitments, of half commitments. When you say maybe to everything, you say no to the thing that matters most. The Stoics saw subtraction as the opposite of laziness. It was not rest, it was not giving up, it was the most demanding discipline, because it requires you to know precisely what you actually value. It requires you to be clear on your vision, and then it requires you to have the courage to remove everything that contradicts it, to remove everything that distracts from it, to remove everything that competes with it. Remove 10 things this week, not 10 significant things, 10 actual things. Delete them, quit them, say no to them. Unsubscribe, unfriend if necessary. End the obligation. Feel the freedom that returns when you stop defending the unimportant. System 5. The distraction pre-mortem. Preparing for the obstacles you know will come. There is a Stoic practice that has been rediscovered by modern psychology under the name cognitive rehearsal or negative visualization. The Stoics called it premeditatio malorum, premeditation of harm. It sounds dark. The practice is liberating. It sounds morbid. The effects are empowering. Here is how it works. Before you begin your most important work, you deliberately imagine everything that could pull your attention away, not to depress yourself, not to inspire anxiety, to strip the future of its power to ambush you. You name the distraction before it arrives, before it happens. You prepare, you anticipate, you rehearse. Your phone will buzz, name it. Plan how you will respond. Email will arrive, name it. Plan how you will respond. Your mind will wander to a worry, name it. Plan how you will return to work. A colleague will interrupt, name it. Plan what you will say. A craving for coffee will come, name it. Plan what you will do. By naming the distraction before it arrives, you neutralize its power. Because distraction is partly power of surprise. It is the unexpected thing that derails your focus. But when the distraction arrives, and you have already prepared for it, it loses its grip. You have already decided how you will respond. The response is automatic. No decision required in the moment. No willpower required. Just implementation. Seneca wrote about this extensively. He told his student to prepare for difficulty the way a soldier prepares for battle. Not by hoping difficulty does not come, by deciding in advance how he will respond when it does, not if it comes. When it comes. The Stoics understood that obstacles are not exceptions, they are the rule. Obstacles are normal. They come to everyone. The only question is whether you will be ready. Practice this before your most important work. Take 5 minutes, nothing more. List every distraction you know will come. Your mind will offer more as you list them. It will remember past distractions. It will anticipate new ones. Write them all of them. Then for each one, decide in advance how you will handle it. Your phone buzzes, you do not look. That is the decision. Email arrives, you do not check. That is the decision. Mind wanders to worry, you notice and return to work. That is the procedure. Colleague interrupts. You are prepared with a boundary. You know exactly what you will say. That is the response. By the time the distraction actually arrives, you have already defeated it. The pre-mortem collapses the future into the present. It converts surprise into preparation. It converts anxiety into strategy. It converts reactivity into proactivity. System 6, the quality threshold. Building excellence instead of quantity. There is a story about how Seneca built his wealth. He was not the richest man in Rome through frantic activity. He was not wealthy because he did more than everyone else. He became wealthy through selective excellence. He did fewer things, but did them so well that he became indispensable. He was known, not for doing everything, but for doing certain things perfectly. This is the quality threshold. Most people operate under a quantity model. Do more things, do them faster, accomplish more, complete more. The metric is quantity. The metric is speed. The metric is volume. The Stoics operated under a quality model. Do fewer things, do them better, become irreplaceable. The metric is excellence. The metric is depth. The metric is the impact of the work. This is a complete inversion of modern productivity thinking. It feels wrong at first. It works. It always works. Here is the practice. Identify 3 people who are at the level you want to reach. Not their personalities, not their backgrounds, not their luck, their output. What do they create? How often? What quality? Study this. Study the data. Usually you will find something shocking. They create less frequently than you would expect, but what they create is approximately perfect. They are not racing, they are aiming. They are not trying to do more, they are trying to do better. This is the quality threshold. It is the minimum level below which you do not produce. If you are a writer, every piece you produce is publishable quality. If you are a designer, every design is a portfolio piece. If you are a creator of any kind, every creation meets your standard. This means you create less frequently. Good. That is the point. You create with concentration. You create with care. You create with the full weight of your attention. The Stoics understood that one excellent piece of work is worth 100 mediocre pieces. One excellent conversation is worth 100 shallow ones. One focused hour is worth a dozen scattered ones. One book written with complete attention is worth a dozen books written with divided attention. Establish your quality threshold. Decide what work meets your minimum standard. Produce only work that meets it. Let everything else be rejected. Let it be unpublished. Let it be unshared. Let it be unfinished. This is hard. It requires saying no. It requires saying this is not good enough. It requires having standards. It is also exactly how excellence is built. System 7. The company filter. The power of the people you spend time with. Epictetus said something that most people read and then immediately ignore. They hear it. They agree with it. They do nothing about it. Above all, keep watch over this. Keep watch. Keep guard. Do not let this slip away from you. Keep watch over this. That you do not keep company with those of your old habits. Those who have not changed, those who are still scattered, those who are still distracted. For if you do, you must either become like them or make them like you. There is no neutral ground when it comes to the people you spend time with. You cannot be near the same as before. You cannot remain unchanged. Either you are being lifted or you are being diluted. Seneca went further. He wrote about contagion, not physical disease. Character spread through proximity like disease through a house. The unfocused person spreads unfocus. Their scattered energy becomes your scattered energy. The anxious person spreads anxiety. Their nervousness affects your nervous system. The scattered-in person spreads scatter. They interrupt constantly. Their mind is everywhere. Your mind becomes everywhere too. The person who respects their own attention teaches you to respect yours. The person who protects their focus protects yours. The person who builds something real makes building something real feel possible. Most people cannot address this directly because it feels cruel to admit. But it is not cruel. It is honest. Your environment shapes your mind. This is not opinion. This is neurobiology. This is how the brain actually works. When you are around people who are chaotic, your own nervous system entrains to their chaos. Entrains. Your nervous system literally synchronizes with theirs. You do not choose this. It happens automatically. It is unconscious. It is biological. When you are around people who are calm and focused, your nervous system calms and focuses. Your heart rate matches theirs. Your breathing matches theirs. Your mental state converges toward theirs. This happens automatically. You do not choose it. It simply occurs. The company filter is a ruthless practice. Audit the 5 people you spend the most time with, not who you wish you spent time with, who you actually do. On your phone, in person, every interaction. For each one, ask, do they protect their own focus, or do they constantly interrupt theirs and mine? Do they speak about building things or tearing things down? Do they expand my sense of what is possible, or do they remind me why things cannot work? Do they inspire action, or do they inspire doubt? Do they move forward, or do they stay stuck? Be honest, be brutal, be truthful. For each person who reliably leaves you scattered, diminished, or anxious, you must make a decision. You either spend significantly less time with them, or you accept that they will continue to shape your mind in ways you do not choose. There is no neutral. You cannot be around chaos and remain focused. You cannot be around anxiety and remain calm. You cannot be around resentment and remain building something. You cannot be around failure and remain trying. You cannot be around doubt and remain believing. This is not judgment of those people. It is protection of yourself. The Stoics were clear about this. You must eventually surround yourself with people who are building, not destroying. People who are focused, not scattered. People who respect their own minds and therefore respect yours. People who lift you up. Make one change this week. Reduce your time with the person who most reliably leaves you scattered, who most reliably pulls you down, who most reliably makes you doubt. Notice what happens to your focus. Notice how much space opens up. Notice how much energy returns. System 8, the Fortress Hour. Creating sacred time for deep work. Marcus Aurelius was simultaneously emperor, general, judge, and mediator of the Roman Empire. During a plague, during a war on 2 fronts, his administrative obligations were beyond what most humans have ever faced. The demands were constant. People wanted things from him every moment. Decisions needed to be made. Crises needed management. The empire needed his attention. And somehow, in the middle of this, he wrote the Meditations. 12 books of the most psychologically sophisticated writing in the ancient world. Not quick thoughts, not shallow observations. Deep, penetrating, honest examination of how the mind works, how virtue operates, how to live. How did he do this? How did he find time? He did not find time. He protected time, because he understood that without the clarity deep thinking produced, everything else would fail. Habit 8 is the Fortress Hour. The Latin term for this in Stoic practice was otium, not idleness, but deliberate, protected, undistracted time given to the work that matters most. Seneca wrote extensively about this in his letters. He warned that the man who has no time set aside for himself, genuinely set aside, defended, inaccessible to the demands of others, that man belongs entirely to others. He wrote, "Recede into yourself as much as you can. This is not introversion. This is strategy. This is sovereignty. This is protection. Every day you must have at least 1 hour, ideally the same hour every day, where you are completely unavailable. Phone off, door closed, location removed from the world, no emails, no messages, no interruptions, no exceptions, no breaking the rule, just you and the work that demands your deepest attention." This feels impossible to most people. That feeling of impossibility is precisely the evidence that you need it. Because what you are really saying when you say you cannot find one undisturbed hour is this: I have given every hour of my existence to everyone and everything except what I care about most. The Fortress Hour corrects this injustice. Start with 30 minutes if 1 hour feels unreasonable. But start the same time every day, the same place if possible. Your mind will eventually begin to anticipate this time. It will clear itself. It will prepare itself. It will know that this is time for depth. By the 4th week, when you sit down for your Fortress Hour, your brain will shift into focus mode automatically. This is neurological adaptation. This is how you rebuild concentration. The greatest work in human history was not produced by people who had unlimited time. It was produced by people who protected limited time ferociously, who treated that time like a fortress, defended it, guarded it. Let nothing penetrate it. System 9. The evening review. The practice of examining your day. Every evening, Seneca conducted what he called a daily audit of the soul. An accounting, a review. He described it in a letter that reads like a confession made public. It is so personal, so honest, so direct. When I go to bed, he wrote, I review my whole day, my deeds, my words. I hide nothing from myself, nothing. Complete honesty. He asked 3 questions. Did I do anything wrong today? Did I waste any time today? What did I learn that made me better? This was not journaling as therapy. This was not writing to feel better. This was ruthless accounting. The evening review is where focus becomes refined, where attention becomes understood. Most people end their day unconscious. They collapse into bed, having been swept through 16 hours by whatever demanded attention, with no review of how their focus was spent, with no examination of what happened, with no preparation for tomorrow. Then they wonder why nothing changes. The pattern repeats. The evening review breaks this cycle. It inserts consciousness. It forces you to account for your attention the way a serious investor accounts for their capital, the way a military general accounts for their troops. Here is the practice. Every evening, take 5 minutes, not an hour, 5 minutes. Ask yourself 3 questions. Where did my focus actually go today? Not where I intended it, where it actually went. Was it where I chose to direct it, or did the day simply carry me? Write this. Be honest. Where did I allow my attention to be stolen? Name it precisely. Was it the phone? Was it a conversation that should have been shorter? Was it an anxiety I fed instead of examined? Was it a distraction I could have resisted? Name the thief. Be specific. Finally, what single change in tomorrow's behavior would return the most focus to the most important work? Just one. Not a list of resolutions, not a vision board. One surgical change. One small thing that, if changed, would create a cascade of improvement. By the 4th week of this practice, you will see patterns emerging. You will see the exact moments where your focus fails. You will see the exact conditions where you remain strong. This information is gold. It is how you evolve. Marcus Aurelius ends many meditation entries with barely suppressed frustration with himself. Not self-flagellation, but productive dissatisfaction. The feeling of a man who refused to be comfortable with the gap between who he was and who he could be. The feeling of someone who saw the distance and refused to accept it. The evening review maintains that gap. It keeps it visible, and visible gaps get closed, they get narrowed, they get eventually eliminated. System 10. The mortality practice. Living as though this moment is finite, because it is. There is a line in the meditations that most people read too quickly. They read it and move on. They do not let it land. Marcus Aurelius writes this: you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Not someday, not in the distant future, when your health declines or your age catches you. Right now, this afternoon, this hour. The Stoics were not being morbid, they were being precise, and the precision matters, because when you carry the genuine awareness that this moment is finite and unrepeatable, something shifts, something deep shifts. How you manage your attention changes, how you spend your time changes, how you speak changes. The notification on your phone loses its urgency. It is still a notification, but it no longer feels urgent. The argument that was consuming your focus becomes obviously unworthy of that focus. You can see it clearly. It is just an argument. It does not matter. The procrastination becomes what it actually is, squandering an irreplaceable inheritance. You cannot unsee this once you see it. Seneca wrote to his student Lucilius, "Eta facmi, vindicate tibi." Do this. Claim yourself for yourself, not for your employer, not for your social media audience, not for the expectations of people who do not share your goals and will not share your regrets. For yourself, now. This is the mortality practice. Every morning, before you do anything else, before you open email, before you check your phone, before you speak to anyone, ask yourself this question: If this were the last day of my life, how would I spend it differently? Do not answer philosophically, answer practically. What would you actually do differently? You would not check email. You would not worry about social obligations. You would not scroll social media. You would not pretend to work while your mind scattered. You would be present. You would focus on something that actually mattered. You would tell someone you love that you love them. You would create something real. You would have one conversation that mattered. You would look someone in the eyes. That is your answer. That is what matters. Now, understand this. That feeling you have when you imagine your last day, that clarity, that singularity, that absolute absence of doubt about what matters, that is not unique to the end of life. That clarity is available now. The only thing between you and that clarity is the decision to accept it. This is not morbid, this is liberating. This is the most freeing thought available to human consciousness. When you stop pretending you have infinite time, your time becomes precious. When your time becomes precious, your focus becomes fierce. When your focus becomes fierce, your life actually begins. 10 systems complete: the attention inventory, the decision before the day, the single focus protocol, the subtraction cascade, the distraction pre-mortem, the quality threshold, the company filter, the fortress hour, the evening review, the mortality practice. None of these are natural. None of them are easy. All of them are learnable. All of them are within your reach. Any one of them practiced for 30 days will begin to reshape your mind. But the Stoics did not practice one system in isolation. They did not pick one and ignore the rest. They built an architecture, a complete integrated structure of attention. Each system supports the others. The attention inventory shows you where you are. The decision before the day shows you where you want to go. The single focus protocol builds the muscle to get there. The subtraction cascade removes obstacles. The distraction pre-mortem prepares you for reality. The quality threshold ensures your work matters. The company filter protects your mind. The fortress hour creates sacred space. The evening review measures progress. The mortality practice keeps perspective. This architecture is available to you right now, in this moment. The question is not whether it is possible. It is possible. The evidence is 2,000 years of history. The question is not whether it will work. It works. The evidence is every focused person you have ever met. The question is whether you will begin. Not next Monday, not next month, today. Epictetus, who was a slave, who was tortured, who had nothing except his own mind, said this: "First decide what you want to be, then do what you need to do to become it." That is the entire instruction. That is everything. Decide, and then do. Nothing else is required. No special circumstances, no perfect conditions, no waiting for the right time, no waiting to feel ready. The time is now. The conditions are here. You are ready. The gate of your mind is open. There is a fortress inside you. You have the architecture. You have the systems. You have the exact practices. You have the examples of men who built minds of extraordinary power through exactly these systems. Men who faced exile, men who faced slavery, men who faced plague, men who faced death, men who faced every difficulty, and who built through all of it minds of such clarity and power that they became immortal, not because they lived longer, because they lived more fully, because they focused on what mattered, because they protected their attention. The only thing you lack is the decision. Will you defend your attention? Will you reclaim your focus? Will you claim yourself for yourself? Say yes. Say it now, not quietly. Say it out loud if you can. Say yes. 10 systems complete. The attention inventory, the decision before the day, the single focus protocol, the subtraction cascade, the distraction pre-mortem, the quality threshold, the company filter, the fortress hour, the evening review, the mortality practice. The world profits from your distraction. It profits from your scattered mind. It wants you weak, reactive, and easily manipulated. You are no longer available for their games. You have the architecture. You have the systems. You have the ancient discipline of men who conquered empires and transcended slavery. Close the gates of your mind, reclaim your focus, and build your inner citadel. Welcome to the Stoic Power Club. If this masterclass gave you clarity today, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and join our brotherhood of sovereign minds. Leave a comment below with the single word reclaimed to seal your commitment to absolute focus. Stand firm, stay disciplined, command your life.